Good morning, everybody. It's nice to be here in Fort Myers this morning. I wish it were under better circumstances, but we are happy to announce this morning arrests and charges for 3 different individuals for possessing, distributing, and in one case soliciting very gross child sex abuse material. I'm not just talking about nude photos, I'm talking about horrific acts on kids. Individuals under 10 years old. All 3 of these arrests happened the same day. They're unrelated cases, but it was intentional to get them on the same day once we had the evidentiary record to further highlight our commitment and priority to putting these sick people behind bars. We want to protect our kids at all costs. These individuals thought they could hide in the digital space. They did not think they would be found. In some cases, they tried to delete, erase, or hide this content behind computer code. But we were watching, and we found them, and we will continue to be watching. And if you're out there and you want to prey upon our kids, we will be watching, and we will come for you. The 3 individuals, first in LaBelle, Jason Harrison, a 46-year-old. He tried to delete hundreds of files, but we were able to find some that he missed. He's being charged with 3 counts of possession of child pornography. Naples, 41-year-old Kevin Sheffield, a father. He tried to hide the abuse behind code. He is charged with 10 counts of child pornography, all second-degree felonies. 34-year-old Travis Montgomery, this is a very sick individual. He was reaching out to a mom in Washington State, trying to get sex abuse material sent to him. There might be some bestiality involved here. Again, pretty bad guy. These guys are not just criminals, they are predators, and they deserve to be known for what they are. I'm excited to highlight the great work again of Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the investigators and team here. They understand the priority here. There's tons of crimes out there. There's tons of financial issues, but we got to get these guys off the streets, and we're going to do it. We appreciate the work FDLE is doing. Hear from the special agent in charge now.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm FDLE Fort Myers Special Agent in Charge Eli Lawson. Thank you, Attorney General Uthmeier and Commissioner Glass, for joining us today. We're here to announce the outstanding, coordinated, and swift efforts of our FDLE agents to arrest 3 individuals: Kevin Randall Sheffield, Jason Grant Harrison, and Travis Lee Montgomery. I'm going to share a few details of these investigations, starting with Kevin Sheffield. 42-year-old Kevin Sheffield, our case began March the 21st. As part of routine online peer-to-peer sharing investigations, agents identified a device that was downloading child sexual abuse material, commonly referred to as child pornography. The investigation led us to an IP address at Sheffield's residence in Naples, Florida. Less than 2 weeks later, agents conducted a search warrant, seized multiple electronic devices, conducted follow-up forensics analysis, and discovered hundreds of files of child sexual abuse material on his devices. Sheffield was just arrested this Wednesday and was transported to the Collier County Jail. He faces 10 counts of possession of child sexual abuse material, which are second-degree felonies. Next, we have Jason Grant Harrison, 46 years old. On February the 4th of this year, FDLE agents again were conducting an online investigation of peer-to-peer file sharing networks that share child sexual abuse material. That investigation led us to a user with an IP address in LaBelle, Florida. The user, eventually identified as Mr. Harrison, was downloading child exploitative material. On February the 27th, agents executed a search warrant at his home, seized multiple devices, and located several files depicting sexual abuse of children. After the search warrant, Harrison subsequently moved to Jacksonville, where he was arrested this week. He was booked in the county jail there in Jacksonville. He'll be extradited to Hendry County to face 3 counts of possession of child sexual abuse material, which are third-degree felonies. And then finally, we also arrested 34-year-old Travis Montgomery from Bradenton. Montgomery is charged with the following: 6 third-degree felony counts of possession of child sexual abuse material, 1 second-degree felony count of solicitation of an image from a parent or guardian of sexual conduct involving a child, and 1 first-degree felony charge of food tampering. Montgomery's case began March the 13th. when our agents were notified by the Bellingham Police Department in Washington State that a cyber tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children had identified an online user sharing child sexual abuse material on the Kik messaging app. Our investigation led to Mr. Montgomery's IP address, where he was receiving those files. The communication between Montgomery and the parent led to shared digital files depicting Montgomery performing sexual acts inside a restaurant where he was employed at the time, sexual acts that intentionally contaminated food. He is no longer, thankfully, employed at that restaurant. About a month later, agents conducted a search warrant at Montgomery's residence in Bradenton, and on April the 30th, Montgomery was arrested and transported to the Manatee County Jail. As you've heard, these cases are disgusting in nature. There's some details that are revolting, but our agents are so dedicated to holding these people to account, and I can't be more thankful for that. The swift actions of our agents prevented these men, as you heard, from victimizing more children, because every image is a victim. It's not just a photo, as you heard the Commissioner say. FDLE will continue to work towards safeguarding the community's most innocent and vulnerable. That mission is a joint community effort. Now that we're in the month of May, a few weeks, kids are going to be getting out of school. They're going to have a lot of extra time on their hands. So we urge parents, please speak with your children, educate them on safe internet use. There are tools at the Secure Florida website, which is on the monitor, that will help you in that, help you have those conversations, and prepare for your children to enter the internet world on their own. So thank you. With that, I'll invite our final speaker from the Office of Statewide Prosecution, Ms. Agnieszka Thomas.
Good morning. My name is Agnieszka Thomas. I'm an assistant statewide prosecutor here in the Fort Myers office for statewide prosecution, Attorney General's office. I want to first start off with thanking FDLE and the agents on these 3 cases. Because of their dedication and the teamwork between our agencies, we have been able to successfully investigate these 3 cases and seek charges and arrests. We have had the opportunity to work with FDLE on crimes against children, and because of FDLE's dedication and teamwork between our agencies, we have been able to successfully prosecute and sentence these types of crimes against children to lengthy prison sentences. And I really want to thank FDLE for their hard work on those. Our office has officially charged 3 individuals. Travis Montgomery in Manatee County for 6 counts of child pornography, 1 count of solicitation of an image from a parent or legal guardian, and 1 count of consumer product tampering. Travis Montgomery, if convicted, is looking at 75 years in prison. Jason Grant Harrison in Hendry County is charged with 3 counts of possession of child pornography and is facing 15 years in prison. And last, Ryan Sheffield in Collier County. He is charged with 10 counts of possession of child pornography, having 10 or more images, and is facing 150 years in prison. Last, I would like to thank the Attorney General and the Commissioner for dedicating their resources to combat crimes against children. And I would also like to thank the Attorney General for his continued support of all of our efforts in prosecuting these types of crimes. Thank you. I believe the Attorney General will be up to last remarks.
Agnieszka just finished was a many weeks long trial, right? She's in trial for months, and no rest for the weary. There's more work to be done. The streets are safe for today because these guys aren't going to be on them for a long time. If you want to exploit, abuse, or prey upon our kids, don't do it. We're going to be watching, and we're going to come for you. You know, we see technology exposing our kids to more and more dangers. Many of you are probably aware we brought a lawsuit over a week ago against Snapchat. We see Snapchat as an application that it's a preferred avenue for people like this to get access to kids. They like the features of the application, disappearing messages and photos. It makes it more difficult to track and monitor what they're doing. But we are paying attention. We're gonna hold Snapchat accountable for knowingly designing an app that is addictive. They want kids to be on it as much as possible, and they know about a lot of these dangers, and they haven't taken the necessary protocols to address them. We passed a law last year, House Bill 3, that prohibits, younger kids and teenagers from accessing the sites, and older teenagers, 14, 15 years old, are only supposed to access them with parental permission, so that parents, they can go, they know what's going on, they can access the protocols and features and things like that that should be provided to better enable them to monitor, educate, and know what their kids are doing. As parents out there, if you don't know what your kids are doing, if you don't know what they're accessing, please wake up. I can't say enough to scare you what we're seeing right now. We've been investigating Roblox, a gaming app where young people can get on in a social setting and play games with one another. Just 2 days ago, we arrested a guy in Marion County who was using this application to solicit sexual abuse material of young kids. We're seeing a lot of this. So we're going to be going after any company that's out there endangering our kids. We've put them on notice. Again, we want to work with them. We want to work to create features and design the programs in a way that protect kids. But if you're not going to take that seriously, we will hold you accountable in court. So thank you for being here. I think we got time for a few questions if anybody has any.
James, just for clarity, were these three working together at all? Did they know each other, or are these three separate cases?
These are three separate cases, just evidentiary, timing, collection-wise. They all kind of reached the point where arrests were able to be made in the same day, but in independent cases.
Could you explain, I guess, the relationship of the accused with one of the victims working with a mother? Can you just go into a little more detail?
Yeah, I don't want to get it wrong. I'll turn it over to the special agent here.
Sure. So the case originated in Washington State. A parent of children out there, they apprehended her. They charged her out there. They determined that she was transmitting photographs and videos here to Mr. Montgomery. They referred that to us for our jurisdiction, for our investigation, which we, after getting his devices, we did locate some of those images on his electronic devices. That's why he was charged with that.
Is she being charged?
She is charged in Washington State,
Okay.
yes.
And this was her child?
Children.
Children?
Yes, sir.
Are we in custody? Remain in custody?
Yes. All three were booked in Wednesday. I don't know the bonds off the top of my head.
Travis Montgomery has $260,000 bond. Jason Grant Harrison has $750,000 bond, and Mr. Sheffield down in Collier has $1.5 million bond.
Outside of the children in Washington State, were you able to identify and save any other children, or were you just involved in sharing files, not the production?
So the other two were sharing in these peer-to-peer networks known files of those children are existing files that have been shared in the past. They were not local children. They were not children that were rescued as a result of this particular investigation.
Is there an effort to try and identify the children?
So we go through, so the National Center works through, we work in partnership with them to identify who these real victims are. And oftentimes, when we get them from devices, they've already been identified.
And the Attorney General, I have a quick question. You mentioned potentially a lawsuit against Snapchat. What steps is your office taking to work with tech platforms or local schools to kind of prevent the creation, distribution of this type of material?
Sure. So we've been reaching out to companies to express concerns where we see them. Some companies are more willing than others to be cooperative and sit down. I believe Snapchat, is going to fight the state law, and they believe they have a free speech right that, preempts the state law. I do not believe the First Amendment protects the company's right to expose and endanger our kids. So we will fight that vigorously in court against Snapchat and any other company that we believe is breaking our state law. As far as schools go, we've been working with the legislature to try to limit access to phones and things during school. The average age that a child now sees pornography for the first time, I believe I just heard, was 6 years old, and a lot of that is happening because of these dangerous devices. They end up in schools unsupervised. The internet is everywhere. Parents are the first line of defense. Parents really need to be stepping in to ensure that their kids are at a mature age before they have unlimited access to the internet. But that's not always happening, and thus other kids get exposed. So we're working with the school districts to better, educate them on the dangers that are associated with these applications. And I think you'll see this become, a featured initiative of the Office of the Attorney General over the next, couple of years.
And again, just for clarity, that you mentioned a sex act in a restaurant, and I obviously this sounds horrific, and I guess without going into too much detail, but was just so that we have clarity, he was performing a sex act inside a restaurant with the child?
No, this was with food and things within the kitchen, right?
Yeah, there was no child there.
Okay. If it was,
I better not get more detailed than that, but it's horrific.
It's very common for these kind of cases to provide the leads to law enforcement for other cases. Were you able to go up on these computers, and can we expect additional arrests based on information or intelligence gathered in this case?
My understanding and hope is yes.
The case is continuing. We still have some more forensics to follow up on, so we will not rule out future charges.
Yeah, I think it's been a little over a month ago, we announced a very large child pornography ring that we busted. And, I mean, there you were talking millions of files. You had an individual over in Turkey that was kind of the ringleader of this network, feeding things into New Jersey and other states. And when you crack down on something like that, I mean, it leads to a spider web of connections. I mean, hundreds of transactions and individuals involved. And we will continue to go down that rabbit hole and try to hold every single person accountable that's been distributing and sharing that that dangerous content.
James, just while we have you here, on another note, a federal judge says she is shocked that you didn't find her order. Do you have any reaction to that?
Yeah, so I'm going through her order. Obviously, you could see the arguments that my office made in the court. I'm talking to counsel. I don't have an official statement on that right now, but I expect to have one today.
And one back on the child exploitation cases, are you guys seeing an increase in these types of cases in this region, and is this just part of a bigger trend that you guys are seeing?
Well, I won't speak to this region. I'll turn it over to the SAC in a minute if he has anything to add. I think a lot of this has always been out there. I think our investigators are using new technologies and skills and are able to identify things in a better way today than they have in the past. But I also think that the emergence of technology is giving these dangerous individuals a feeling of comfort. This isn't, walking around with hard copy materials, where they feel like they're going to get busted. They believe the screen and the computer and the phones protect them. And that's why, we see more people taking these liberties. But they should know we are watching, we will find them, and that they are not going to be protected.
That's great.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.